Hello, everyone. Welcome to Based. Why am I sitting on the floor? Well, I'm extremely lazy. With that, I have never shot out my favorite microphones around my studio with the B15. But I have all these mics that people talk about in forums and nice mics like the Soyuz 017 tube. And I was just like, hey, we need to shoot them out. I'd love to shoot them out. So this video would not be possible without the Walrus reamp box, the canvas reamp. They sent this to me, and I was like, man, bass players are sleeping on reamping. Guitar players, they get it. Studio guys, they get it. But this is a great example of why reamping matters. You know, you might have an Apollo or something at home. You can record into the interface and then come out of the interface into this later once you've, comped your favorite take, go through the reamp box so that it hits the amp like it's expecting to, kind of like you were plugging your instrument right into the amp. That kind of gives us the most fair shootout possible, I think. I recorded this bass track and the drum tracks quite a while ago to be used for demo purposes, and I ran it out of the patch bay into this into the amp. Then I was able to use the same takes of me playing bass to test the different microphones. So thank you so much, Walrus. This is awesome. Let's be curious to know what you think at the end. Leave me a comment and I'll tell you my thoughts too. Okay, you made it this long, so you must want to talk about what you're hearing. Well, I can tell you what I'm hearing. I think there's a huge caveat here. The caveat is this was recorded in a studio, reamped like we talked about, so bleed wasn't really an issue. If you were recording with a drummer fairly close to your amplifier, you might have a different set of qualifications for what microphone you want, because something like this condenser mic or like the FET47, the United FET47, those are a lot more sensitive microphones and they're going to pick up bleed a lot better. That might not be a good thing. The fidelity of the bleed might sound more natural with a lot of condenser mics, but a lot of the dynamic microphones, those microphones are going to reject a lot better and have a lot less bleed. So something to take into account, but I'm simply talking about a mic on a B15. So what do we think? Well, one more caveat here. It depends on what you want to do. A lot of the studios I go to, they will use the DI bass for the low lows, and they'll use the amplifier as the top of the bass, or the grindy, articulate kind of thing. So if that is your intention and you expect to do that, well, all of a sudden you're not picking the mic with the most low end. So something like the SM57 is actually a surprisingly good option. You don't need all that sub low frequency because you're going to keep it for the DI. You're only kind of using that bitey attack. So the 57 actually performed pretty cool here. Next, let's talk about the AKG D12. This is a vintage D12E that's been restored. Dynamic mic, originally used for, low frequency instruments, but also intended on like vocals, and I've seen them used on saxophone a lot. You'll see them all over studios. Very popular microphone. Kind of one of those holy grail mics that people talk about online. I don't know. It's here. I thought it was a little too smooth, a little too nice. When I'm micing up an amp, I do want to hear that grindy, whatever, that articulation. I'm not trying to hear super trebly stuff necessarily, because the speaker can't even reproduce a lot of that. But I do want to hear some detail, and I feel like the D12 did not give me the detail I wanted. But maybe on a different amplifier or a more aggressive setting, the D12 will kind of tame those things. So, it just depends on what you're trying to do. I personally thought in this situation, I wouldn't pick the D12 first. Let's talk about the MD421. Loved it. I thought it was really cool. It had a nice blend of articulation and fullness. Wasn't some crazy subby thing, but it just sounded good, sounded right. It was awesome. The SM7B, some people are saying, that it has a really similar capsule to the 57. I guess that's true. I don't know. Enough people say it. I thought it was good. It sounded like the 57, a little bit less aggressive, a little bit more hi-fi, and a little bit more fullness on the bottom. So I thought that was a great mic. Okay. These last two are the heavy hitters, in my opinion. The Soyuz 017 tube and the RE20, Electro-Voice RE20. This is the original version, not the newer ones that have a different tweaked hype in them, I think. I don't know. The RE20 was 100% my go-to pick. When I was listening to this, before I was like, man, I'm here, might as well get the Soyuz out of the box. Plugging up a tube mic is a pain in the butt. This is such a privileged thing to say, but sometimes when the inspiration hits you, you're not always going to grab a tube mic because it's not fast. You got to wait for it to warm up, whatever. They're temperamental. I should not be holding it like this. Someone's very angry right now. I grabbed this, and boy, was I floored at how it sounded. It had a great blend of fullness, whole frequency. So if I'm not blending it with a DI, I'd probably be pretty happy with the sound already. The biggest thing, the tube adds a 3D-ness. It's like it kind of surrounds you. It's this creamy, cool thing. The RE20, on the other hand, was very direct. The bass sounded focused and really great. The articulation was exciting. It was exciting but flattering. So coming back to that bleed conversation, if I was playing with a band in here, I would definitely be reaching for the RE20 before I would reach for this. If I'm alone and I'm tweaking this, I would probably pick this 017 tube. But I mean, by a 10% margin, maybe less than that. I mean, the RE20 is really good. And then I think this mic currently is like $4,500, and the RE20, I don't know, is it like 600, something like that? So if you're saving up for a mic for this particular purpose, sounds like a done deal. The RE20 and this microphone, they are both great. The RE20 is amazing on kick. I love it on kick. It's amazing on voice. Kind of same with this. I'd personally probably not throw it in front of a kick drum, just because it's a little sensitive. Many have and been fine, but this is an amazing vocal mic. It's kind of that studio classic. It's a mic that maybe you'd want to hand down to your kids. It's so well made and kind of done the old way. So, different strokes, but, again, thank you to Walrus for giving me the ability to reamp this stuff. Hope you liked it.